Hello and welcome to an episode of Cobalt Core. This is some post commentary as the mic kept cutting out when I recorded this live, so we get to enjoy post commentary. Today I've got Cat, Riggs, and Drake as my ship. I went with the Artemis as it's a pretty well-rounded ship, and it's good for getting artifacts as well. There isn't a lot of shield here, so just don't, or shield generation with the three specific characters, so just don't go for max shield. You can go for max hull for Drake. That is something that's nice, just because Drake does have extra hull. Otherwise, two random upgrades to Type A is a pretty safe choice. Pretty much every single card you can hit, you probably want. Maybe with the exception of EMP Slug, you might want EMP Slug B more. Um, and also Heat Sink as well, so it has some utility for getting the B upgrade. But there's also a fair amount of misses. Like, for example, you might not want basic dodge B. You do have rigs to help you out in case you do get basic dodge B with scramble, but it's not ideal. And then the basic shots, it's whatever, which upgrade you go with. It's really just heat sink B having the extra utility of being able to flip. But basic dodge or random upgrade with type A is probably the safest option to go with here. Okay, here we're just going to start off the run, just trying to do as much damage as possible. I picked Memory Leak just to try and thin out my deck, try to get my power cards more often. For example, EMP Blast. Yeah. Unsure why I went for Basic Shield here. I'm probably am doing strong enough as is. Doesn't really matter, I still won in the next turn anyways. Here we get three upgrade options. Combustion engine doesn't have a lot because there isn't a lot of heat generation right now. Options was okay. Helps get you some extra cards. Helps get you extra evade. Um, so it's not like a horrible option to pick up. Here I picked up reroute just to help with some early evade because this is a fight that actually cares about you being able to move around, try to dodge the drones and the other attacks. I picked Jupiter Drone just to help double up my damage. I do have a couple cards in here like EMP Blast, and I didn't pick up Memory Leak. So yeah, EMP Slug, not Blast. Here, Basic Shot and then Scramble is probably your best option. Just scoot out of the way. You end your turn with one evade to help you in the future. This is a tad bit more unfortunate. Probably Heatsink, move, reroute is a little sad, but you can just move to the right and you end your turn with only taking 1 damage, which isn't a horrible cost. Here you get to do, let's see here, 9 damage, which is pretty well good. You do lose a hull, but considering how this fight goes, it's not too bad losing 2 hull. Thermal battery this early is a pretty good sign, especially as we get 3 repair yards in Act 1. From here, it's just trying to thin out the deck as much as we can. Extra spicy is pretty much always the choice to go with here, as you can normally get that procced pretty easily. For right now, I don't really need the thermal battery upgraded. I care about being able to do things in my current fights. So yeah, that's just generating the cards needed. See here. Spacer, I picked that up in case I get a bad hand in the future. Mine, just to help protect me from other bad turns. And yeah, just move over, try to remove some exhaust. And here, yeah, I couldn't move to the left. I didn't have enough evade nor could gain enough. So I kind of had to move off to the side. And right now I'm just trying to deal enough damage to try to get this fight over with quickly. And here, let's see here. I know I came up with a solution. Yeah, that was the solution. I dropped down to 1, and I do have to either exhaust my heat or get rid of it, or finish the fight. Ventilator is normally something you need, but I already have Draw Shot A to already help me with my thermal battery, so I don't need to pick up Ventilator here at all. Second options, on the other hand, is pretty good card as it allows you to basically draw more cards when you grab it, making it essentially a free draft here. Sometimes you aren't able to do it, but over 90% of the time you will gain benefits from drawing it, and then the other 10% isn't um, horrible either. Let's see, I believe I'm removing a card here. I just want to thin out the deck, try to get to my zero cost evade and attacks, because that can actually go a fair ways. And then if I do get thin enough, thermal battery will also just become infinite even without any upgrades. Admin deploy here is purely just to thin out my deck even further. And here I opt to not use a draw shot just because my next turn was looking pretty decent. Space Mine to help protect me. The other nice thing I can do is I can use Space Mine to try to manipulate autopilot to lock onto the mine instead. Here I just get some extra evade, then end my turn, and I win. Okay, drafts. Yeah, nothing really helps me get closer to the infinite. Removing cards or upgrading thermal battery is essentially the same net value. Upgrading thermal battery essentially allows you to see an extra card that you would have otherwise not seen. Removing a card would allow you to see one further into your deck that you would not have otherwise seen. It's the same difference. The main reason why you might want to go one over the other is after this boss fight, you might get the Simplicity artifact, which you might want to keep an extra card that you might otherwise have to remove. Also, overcharge. I just picked that up because it can turn into evade pretty easily. Sync. And then yeah, I'm surprised I went Boulder Bundle here. I think Shield Drone is probably the better option, but the Pebbles is also okay. Using that one drone shift didn't do anything, and using that third Pebble also paid an extra card. Um, Here I think using Thermal Battery and just get rid of Corrupted Core is probably what I should have done. Here, just use Stun Shot. I am surprised that I went through the evade. Like, I mean, I have the heat sink already on -1, so I do have heat to spare. Let's see here. I'm gonna start to use Thermal Battery. I'm ending my turn with no evade, which is somewhat scary. Sometimes you can get a pretty bad hand. I think at this point I am just trying to get the infinite going. Since once I get infinite energy, I can just draw a shot to win. Um, and if I need to move, I can also play my basic dodge as well. Okay. Here I am one card away from getting the infinite. I just need to remove an extra card at some point. it's impossible to do that in this fight. I just don't have the cards for it. So this is pretty much where I either win or I lose the fight, just because if I win here, I'm likely to be able to get into a shop quickly and just remove the last card I need. With that said, I am relying a little bit on RNG since I still have to use Isaac.exe and Max.exe to remove 2 cards. I might be able to draft an exhaust card naturally, or with Max.exe, I might get Admin Deploy or Memory Leak to help me with thinning out my own deck. And there, which is the main reason why I picked Scrap Armor, just allowed me to heal a ton. I believe when I originally recorded this, I thought I was dead there. I didn't realize I had that at 9 hits already. Anyways, here just try to save up as much hull as I can. While we do have 15 hits left to go, the enemy is probably going to heal some of it. I also do think that you want to set up get EMP Slug. You have the hull to exhaust for your, let's see here, heat or overheating. So might as well use it if it saves you at least more than 1 hull. Even if it like goes neutral, you are still doing at least 3 damage with the interaction. So overall, a decent trade-off. Also, the other thing to keep in mind is you do heal extra. I don't know why I'm delaying here. I could just do EMP Slug and then Basic Shot A and just win. But anyways, as I was saying, Scrap Armor does give you extra energy, or not extra energy, extra hull, which means at the end of the fight, boss fights, you do heal more. Here, I think AI Overflow is probably the card I should have picked. It does exhaust itself, and you might be able to see more. There is Simplicity that I was talking about earlier. Now I can remove any excess cards. I don't think I need Basic Shield here at all. Basic Dodge, A is already going to cover my evasion. Yeah, now with my deck thinned, it is just trying to close out the game. So yeah, I'm not guaranteed to get the turn 1 infinite each time, so I do have to actually survive the first few turns. Here I'm hoping for something like Math.max. Total Cash Wipe could also potentially do it for me. Here it looks like I just used it to exhaust a card, which is a fine choice. With 9 cards, then 2 left to exhaust, that breaks me down to 7 cards total. With a 5-card hand and draw shot drawing 3 more cards, or 2 more after you count itself, you do get an infinite. Now we get to see how the infinite works. So basically, Thermal Battery A just draws itself. And what you do there is you just keep drawing until you gain enough energy. And then what Draw Shot does is it deals damage and then draws itself again. So once you have energy equal to or greater than the total number of hull plus shield, you can just keep using Draw Shot over and over again. The main trick is to get it so, let's see here, what was I going to say? Oh, that you get all the cards into your hand and not in like your discard pile or deck. Here, I decided to engage with Sasha just to try and get an artifact, see if I couldn't get anything that helped. Missile Shot just moved the thing over by 2. I picked up Worm just because I have a side goal with this series where I tried to play at least every card or draft every card. And according to the codex, using EXE cards does count for drafting. The other reason why is it also is a retain card, so I get to keep it. Pressure Fuge is something I recommend here just to help make the going infinite easier. Um, Earlier, you saw me upgrade EMP Slug to EMP Slug B. That is just so I can convert 2 energy into 5 damage instead of 1 energy to 1 damage or 2 energy to 2 damage. And here, I just went with events just because it's quicker. I'm also still not entirely sure I can get, um, let's see here. Oh, the infinite fast enough to guarantee that I win a fight, so that's why I avoid the elites. I'm not that strong, so I'm not going to take risks that I don't need to. Of course, I say that, and then I immediately get the infinite in this fight, but it's not guaranteed. Let's see here. Otherwise, for the artifacts, I picked up. It's not heat sinks. It's the artifact that allows you to overheat at 4 instead of 3. Um, I did this instead of heat distillers. That gives you Serenity every 3 turns, just because the Serenity trigger is an action, so the game has to take some time to do a little animation. So I did the thing that just doesn't do an animation. Yeah, at this point in the run, I'm pretty confident. I mean, I have around 9 cards in the deck, so should be pretty good. Then yeah, here we get to see the EMP Slug B just going through the hole and then draw shot just to redraw it. Um, Strafe, I don't think is worth it. Thermal Reactor, Hunter's Wings. Honestly, not picking any of the artifacts doesn't hurt here just because I'm not getting an opportunity to get another boss artifact. Um, there we go. Just get energy. One thing that you could also look out for is fraction detection. That way you can try and find a brittle spot on each of the enemies and just potentially deal double damage. Here are 3 repair yards. That is probably the route I'm taking. Dylan here is going to very quickly regret ever choosing a fight with me, just because I am able to quickly go through their entire defenses. You know, okay. Um, Heat Wave. That scales up damage. So that is the only reason why I picked it up. So one thing to also keep track of with Draw Shot A is you get 2 other cards that you can redraw with it. Create a card. Here, upgrading Heat Wave didn't actually do anything for me, so I just went with the option that got rid of more cards I don't want to actually deal with. Here we run into Smith. It's a pretty easy fight, all things considered. Just get the infinite, keep going. And we win. Again, remove the other EXE card. Um, Here, let's see Here. Yeah, like, I mean, there's no point in upgrading anything. Maybe you go for basic dodge B instead to thin out your deck even further. But here we kind of want everything. I guess if I really wanted to be greedy, I could have tried beating Cello this run. But I think at this point I just wanted the run to be over, just because I already knew I could win. Here, the Cobalt always has 60 health, 15 of it is in shield, 45 is within hull. I don't have the calculations off the top of my head for how much you actually need energy-wise. Doesn't really matter, just get a decent amount and you should be fine. Yeah, here I had 8 energy to spare. I was totally fine there. Anyways, yeah, I think this shows how much just going for an early infinite can pay off. Seeing the thermal battery just basically locked that run in just because I hadn't drafted a lot of cards at that point. And I also had Riggs on the team to help with Draw Shot A, giving me the guaranteed second card I need to pair with it to really go infinite and get a win con with infinite energy. Anyways, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask below. And I wish you have a nice day. Take care.